College Park. I'm Mayor Bianca Motley Broom. We have a full quorum present with council members Clay, Karn, Allen, and Gay. It is 7:34 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order at this time. Our first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chaplain Den is doing our invocation this evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let us pray. Almighty God, God of love, peace, and justice, we thank you that you have preserved our lives and granted health and prosperity to many of us. For all your blessings known and unknown to us, we bless your holy name. As we assemble for this council meeting, we thank you for all our city officials here in the city of College Park, our mayor and the council members who represent us. We are so grateful for the various department staff who serve diligently, especially in times of disaster and distress. Father, we ask for your blessings. As there are many items on the forthcoming agenda, please give all participants who are involved in this meeting the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that is necessary to enhance the lives of the citizens of College Park. We pray for the peace and tranquility of our state and nation. Grant that those who hold power, influence, and great responsibility may seek your guidance and rely upon your aid. Remember all law enforcement officers and firefighters who serve the city tirelessly and keep them sheltered in your presence. Bless our homes and our children. Bless the sick and the afflicted. Comfort those who are mourning. And we thank you for all these prayers we ask in the name of the Father and the Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
Next up is additions, deletions, amendments, or changes to the agenda. Mr. Myers?
Yes, I'd like to add a 9B to the agenda. And it would be to propose a 15% salary increase for fire department personnel that are sworn officers.
So, sworn fire personnel. Okay.
Sworn fire personnel, yes ma'am.
All right. Any others?
That's it.
All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Clay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Karn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. That is unanimous. Item 3A is approval of the regular session minutes from September 6th, 2022. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the minutes as the addenda that came out by email to the council.
I'll second with a change, slight change.
All right, so Councilman Clay has moved to approve the amended minutes that were emailed to us. Councilman Karn has seconded with some additional changes. So go right ahead, sir.
Packet page 25. All right, where are our lines here?
There are no lines.
Okay, we
The ones that were sent to us have
That's
lines.
surprising. There are no lines nor page numbers.
All right. Make sure the lines and the page numbers on all of the minutes, so when we have to correct them, we can correct them with ease. It's in the middle of the page where Councilman Karn said starts. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What page are we on?
Packet page 25.
25.
Middle of the page where there's a Councilman Karn paragraph, and 5 lines down from that. I remember when it would be over 60%, that piece. I want to add in terms of what I was referring to. So I'd like to see something along the lines of I remember when the fund balance would be over 60%, so people can understand what it was I was referring to. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, that's the only change I had.
Any others? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. That is unanimous. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the workshop session minutes from September 6th. Is there a motion?
Yes, I move to approve the addenda that we were sent. I had a whole bunch of changes on the original in the packet, and they were all taken care of to my satisfaction.
Is there a second?
Second
Thank
with
you,
a
Councilman
question.
Carn. All right, go right ahead.
So again, with this packet page, the line numbers are here. So is there something that just happened with that batch? Because normally,
No, both packets should have the line, because I went back and I saw that one didn't. But going forward, we'll make sure that they'll have the line numbers and everything on there for your convenience.
And what's your amendment, sir?
all right.
Did you have an amendment to
No,
the workshop? Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
no, just had a question.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Any others?
No,
All right. So
you've got mine.
we had the motion and the second on that?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. That is unanimous as well. We have no proclamations, resolutions, plaques, or announcements. We move on to citizen remarks. Ms. Brown, can you let folks know the guidelines?
Yes, those who sign in will go first, and we'll have a 3-minute timer. After that, I will do emails, and after that, anyone that did not sign in has the privilege to appear before council for 3 minutes. First on our list, I have Stephanie Jones of 1824 Cambridge Avenue to discuss the 125th anniversary of College Park Women's Club, I believe.
Good evening, Mayor and esteemed council. My name is Stephanie Jones. I serve as the president of the College Park Women's Club, and I'm here tonight to talk about our 125th anniversary, and you're probably aware of that, but it's worth repeating. 125 years of service to the city of College Park. And in honor of that momentous occasion, we are throwing a birthday party. And we would like to invite all citizens of College Park to join us. We are going to have food, we're going to have a balloon artist, a face painter, music, lots of fun. It's going to be this coming Saturday, September the 24th, from 3 to 5 p.m. at the home of the College Park Women's Club, which is Camellia Hall, and that's 3413 Main Street. It is from 3 to 5, so just wanted to encourage everybody to come out. We'd love to see you all there and celebrate just really the length of service in serving this amazing community that continues today. So hope to see you there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Brown?
Next up, I have Johnny Williams of 2241 Lyle Road to discuss taxes.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
back
Afternoon.
again.
Afternoon.
Hi.
Ms. Williams, could you pull the mic down a little bit?
I don't want to get too close to the mic, you know.
Thank you.
I'm back again about the taxes. I was told they would pass, they did not pass. And you need to think more about the senior citizen in this neighborhood. The other cities, they have that, you know, College Park should have it also. And I want to know why it didn't pass. It should have passed. I know you cannot answer me now, but you need to do more for the seniors in the cities. You have quite a few seniors over 75 in the city, and that should pass. That should be an important thing. You have to do more for the elderly than what you're doing. So I hope I don't have to come back again, and I hope it won't take you too long to do this.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Brown?
Next, I have up Larry Bradley Evans of Brady, of 2112 West Princeton for a presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
My name is Larry Brady Evans. I reside at 2112 West Princeton Avenue, College Park, Georgia. I'd like to greet you all tonight in the greetings of peace and happiness. We'd like to give a presentation on behalf of the Homecoming College Park Committee. Charles Dardell, Mr. Calvin Rainey, Ms. Deborah Broomhead Woods, Mr. Timothy Greer, Ms. Pamela Greer, and yours truly. We want to give a thanks to you all for supporting our homecoming reunion. A special thanks to you, Councilman Gay, for your support. And to you, Mr. Kern, we had your plate, but you never showed up.
I was trying to make it.
But that's quite all right. But we have a little token of appreciation. We have shirts for you guys. These are historic T-shirts that we have here. And I'd like to give a special thanks to the City Council for opening up a road from Camp Creek Parkway through the old Lolly Miller homes, where a majority of the original people of College Park, the blacks, who only had one place to live here in College Park at that time. We couldn't live on Rugby and all the other places in College Park, but we lived there. And I see that you all are building 6 West there. And for that street to run from Camp Creek Parkway to the Brady Center, I feel very proud of that, because the Brady Center is where we're planning to make that a historic site for those of us who was placed out of our homes and residence when the airport abatement program came through back in the 1900s and 80s, saying that the airport was expanding. So we give a special thanks to you all. And hopefully 6 West don't cover Lolly Miller homes, because there was a black lady who stood for us when we couldn't stand for ourselves. So with that being said, thank you all. And we look forward to seeing you all next year. And Council Clay, you got to be one of the proudest councilmen that sits on the board here, because 2 of the most historic sites in the state of College Park, Georgia, you reside over, and that would be Woodward Academy and the Brady Recreation Center. So you should be very proud of that. So with that being said,
It's been time.
Thank you so much.
excuse me,
It's been time.
well, I think I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, don't I? Thank you, ma'am.
They did
Thank,
That's
thank,
fine.
thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much. We
much.
appreciate
That's
it.
fine.
You can give Ms. Brown the T-shirts.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All
We
right.
appreciate
You
it.
all have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To next year.
Alright. Next, I have 3 emails. The first one is from Russell Gibbons.
Ms. Brown, if you would, make sure that you're close enough to the microphone so everyone can hear. Thank you so much.
From Russell Gibbons, I'm a resident that lives on White City Road. I have a major concern about the speeding on White City Road. Cars come off of Janice Drive, exiting onto White City Road at a higher rate of speed to exit at the end road and onto Roosevelt Highway. The speeding occurs in the morning and in the evening between the hours of 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. This has caused it to be very unsafe to walk my dog in the evenings or in the morning. I have spoken to my neighbors and they share the same concerns. Please consider this issue and let's make this road safe for all that live on it. Speed bumps will help drivers reduce their speed as they travel on this road. I've spoken with Councilman Gay and he is doing an amazing job to see that the citizens of 4th Ward are heard and our needs and concerns are addressed. Sincerely yours, Russell Gibbons. Next, from Randy Godfrey. Distinguished Mayor and Council, 3 groups spend other people's money: children, thieves, politicians. All 3 require supervision. Dick Arney. I'm writing to encourage your prudent action regarding any alteration to our tax rate. Prior to increasing tax rate, the city must, 1, demonstrate that it is making good use of the funds it currently receives. How are we performing against the budget established this year? Where are the shortfalls?
Ms. Brown, I'm sorry. I'm having a lot of trouble hearing you, so if I am.
I can't hear you either.
Really?
You need to pull your
You-
Pull
I
your
gotta-
microphone up
down
closer to you.
and lean
Is this
closer to
better?
it.
Yes.
Okay, I shall start over then. 1 second, let me reset the timer. Distinguished Council Mayor, 3 groups serve other people's money. Children, thieves, and politician, all 3 require supervision. Dick Arney. I'm writing to encourage your prudent action regarding any alterations to our tax rate. Prior to increasing tax rate, the city must, 1, demonstrate that it's making good use of the funds it currently receives. How are we performing against the budget established this year? Where are the shortfalls? 2, demonstrate the value of increasing funds. What benefit will citizens see with this increase? 3, explore other ways to fund the value. Example, can you sell the massive real estate asset on city books or consider prioritizing GICC, which is bleeding money? 4, explore ways to cut costs in other functions of the city. Are there events or function that does not provide a return, financial or otherwise benefits the city? What's the waste? I also like to specifically address an idea expressed by the council that any millage rate increase should be offset by senior citizen electricity bills. This is an absurd idea. This mixes apples and oranges. The electric utility that the city runs is paid not by taxes, but instead by electric ratepayers. This means that there are 2 separate buckets that should remain independent. Adding revenue to one bucket and lowering the revenue to the other could place our electric utility at risk and will likely mean the need to raise electricity rates. Make a good day, Randy Godfrey, 1966 Lyle Avenue. And then, lastly,
Please make sure to keep your voice up.
okay. Greetings, Mayor and Council. Demetrius Taylor, 14-year resident of Impardo Club Apartments in Ward 2. I've had such an epiphany and it has warranted such discussion and disclosure. Here's the question. What is the city contingency plan to recuperate the monies on loss on the relocation of the former city manager who only lasted 4 months with the city? I'm also hearing the former assistant city manager contract was paid off as well, and he was here for even less time. I'm not sure if this is a true statement about the former ACM, but if it is, what are we going to do to recuperate, especially when the heated discussion between mayor and council have been about the possibility of raising property taxes? Question 2, if the city is having such a hard time with finances, why are we spending monies to bring folks in to relocate to the city of College Park from other states when we have qualified individuals here in the city, let alone the state of Georgia? Councilman Carn has implicitly been asking for us to do better with our recruitment and hiring practices. And yes, I understand that since we have been post-lockdown, it has been rather difficult to get folks to come into work. But if we are having financial problems, why are we risking such great loss by hiring outside of the state? It would be nice if there were answer to these questions that the citizens could hear or read so that we can have the transparency that everyone keeps saying we need. Thank you for your time and careful considerations. That's all the emails that I have.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for 3 minutes, you may do so at this time. Just come forward to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Michael Moore. I live at 2320 Rugby Avenue. For those of you who know me, you know that I've been involved with College Park for 11 years with Club E. Madam Mayor, distinguished council people, and others in the audience tonight. I come to you tonight on behalf of the recently resolved resolution or presented resolution by the Fulton County Commissioners regarding the $1 million allocation for tiny homes / micro homes / affordable living to be provided somewhere in the South Metro area, i.e. South Fulton and or College Park. I would encourage you this evening, when you later discuss that matter, that you realize and recognize that the ability to provide affordable housing to those in need, as well as to enhance our community, to show something to the people in Georgia, as well as show to the people in the southeastern United States how you can properly administer micro-living, tiny homes, or whatever you wish to call them, to be a highly effective way to provide homes for people who cannot normally afford nor qualify for homes. But I also would encourage you, as a 12-year involved person with micro-living, that you need to be very careful. And as a new resident of College Park and a 47-year resident of the Atlanta metropolitan area, as well as a veteran, it becomes very important, very, very important, that you consider the long-term impact as well as a short-term popularity of doing something a little different and being a leader in your community and a leader in the metropolitan Atlanta area. I'm Michael Moore. I'm here in your neighborhood, and I would love to help anyone who's concerned, interested, or wishes to be educated in the world of micro-living, tiny homes, or appropriately providing livable processes to allow a family to grow regardless of their size, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 people. They can live with under 500 to 700 square feet of space affordably. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none others, we will go ahead and move forward in our agenda. Item 6A is consideration of and action on a request to it's adopt resolution 2022-28, but that is there we go. It's a hazard mitigation plan. Hello, Chief.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great.
Chief, I've got one real question for you. How do we have more households than people in this hazard mitigation plan? It says we have 13,930 people, which is what the 2020 census said, but then we have like 20-something thousand households. It got me at the beginning. I just didn't understand
I will
that.
have that answer for you tomorrow.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but that one was just really kind of bugging me.
That's okay. Yes. Tonight, we just want to ask in Mayor and Council's approval to adopt the hazard mitigation plan. It's the federal hazard mitigation plan that has been adopted by FEMA, and this will allow the city to apply for reimbursements in case there's emergencies, disasters, flooding, whether it's tornadoes that come through. If we spend any funds on equipment or personnel, as far as overtime to work extra, we will be able to get reimbursements from that.
All right, questions for the chief?
Yeah,
Councilman Clay.
Just one simple question.
Question.
Did we make the correction that I found on packet page 70, line 38,
We did.
where it says hereby adopts, not adapts, but adopts?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I got an email from Shavella over the weekend, said she was going to correct it.
So that's taken care of?
It should be, yes, sir.
Okay. That's the only problem I had with it. Obviously, we need to do it.
Yes.
All right, Councilman Carr?
No questions, no cost, so I'm glad to see that.
Councilman, I'm sorry. Councilman Allen?
I don't have a question. I just think it was a great package that you put together. I don't know who all was involved in working on it on your team, but they put a lot of work into it and a lot of good information, so.
I'd like to give extra credit to Andrea Smalls. She did
Okay.
work on that.
Well, she did a great job, so thank you very much.
Councilman Gay?
I don't have any questions, Chief, but I'll make a motion.
Second?
All right, Councilman Gay made the motion to approve. That is a motion, correct? Yes, sir?
Yes.
All right, and Councilman Clay seconded that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That is unanimous. The next item on the agenda is consideration of and action on adopting a funding resolution to be included in submission to the Georgia Department of Natural Resources Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program grant in October. Good evening, Ms. Hall Garrison. How are you?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We are seeking to submit application to DNR for the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program. I have placed in I think it's about 2.5 million that's being requested. This is a new grant that is available. This will be the second round, second year that it's been established. As far as the grant would be awarded in summer of 2023, and if awarded, would need to be spent prior to 2025. So it would not be within this budget cycle, but could be budgeted for the future if received.
All right, thank you very much. Councilman Clay, questions?
Well, one of the questions that I had was how it would impact the budget. And the only comment I have is that this isn't in the fiscal 2024 budget. This would hit the fiscal 2024 budget, but it is not in the fiscal 2024 budget. So, and it's to the tune of 600 and what was it, 75,000 or something like that.
Correct. And that doesn't take into account the in-kind costs from the contractors, which will be added prior to the submission.
From that.
Yes, sir. As well as we got confirmation. I placed the name of the company in the packet, but I did receive confirmation as of Friday that they are providing $150,000 towards our match as well.
Which is really good news.
Yes, sir.
But the point I want to make is that as we looked at the capital plan projection for 5 years, it did not, in the out years, in the last 3 years, it did not include this, for example, and there are other things that it will not have included. And so when we have a discussion about raising millage rate, and we have to consider that everything isn't defined. It never is. It never has been. And I'm just using this is another example to prove my point that we really do need to increase the millage rate. And that's all I had.
Thank you, Councilman Clay. Councilman Carr?
All right, Tasha, so this was the redevelopment of creating the park between us and East Point, and I remember it, we said part of this we would own and part East Point would own. Was that what it was ultimately?
So there is, it's 7.47 acres. It is a sliver of the property that's divided by a small stream. That sliver is owned by East Point, but we would seek to have an intergovernmental agreement with East Point regarding that portion of property.
So the vast majority of this would be owned by the city of College Park, correct?
Yes, sir.
Upwards of 90%, more?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so $638,000 cost. We have to pay that out. That's not the 150 and towards the match. How much is so?
No. It's a 2.5 million.
Correct. We're requesting 2.5 million. We're asking for the full development of the park. As far as we are unsure at this point, we do have 2 phases to go through before approval, if received. So we're asking for the full amount from DNR, which may not be granted, but we wanted to go for the big bucks.
Okay, so DNR is, we could possibly get the 2.5 million for the full cost.
Yes, sir.
So if we get the 2.5 million, do we get the 638 back?
So how it's done is it is similar to the Brownsfield in that the city pays and then they would be reimbursed through DNR for the 80% of the costs associated with the grant.
So is that yes or no? Do we get the 638 back?
No, we would pay the 638 so that we can get 2.5 million.
Right. Okay, so you're asking us to approve the 638 now on the chance that we may get the 2.5.
Correct.
Okay, so
yes,
obviously we don't get the 2.5, we don't pay the 638,
correct,
right?
Yes, sir.
And the 150 towards the match from the other outfit, we get contingent upon if Georgia gives us the 2.5,
yes,
correct? I just wanted to make sure that's clear. The other thing, this last page in here is obviously impossible to read without a magnifier. I'd like to see it a little bigger so we can see this breakdown. A lot of times we get stuff in the packages that are obviously too small to read, so I appreciate it. And it's not your department, it's like all departments. We get stuff that's so tiny that, we know we can't read it. So let's all departments, city manager, just remind folks when they put stuff in the packet, make sure everything in the packet is large enough to read. That'd be a big help to me, at least. All right, okay, those are my questions. So we're approving this again, only if we get the 2.5, would we have to pay this $638?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Councilman Allen?
As you know, I've been a fan of this, finding the Flint forever, and great project. A lot of people have done a lot of work. It's nice to see a nature reserve come into College Park. It's nice that there'll be paths for seniors to walk around in the area. It's just, there's too many good things about it. So thank you for you and your team and everybody involved. So excellent program.
Councilman Gay?
Well, I guess I've been around enough grants to know that if you apply for a grant, you're telling them that we're gonna match the $637,000, and this is to my colleagues. You don't solicit, you don't write a grant and tell them that you're gonna match it, and then you award it. So essentially, you agreeing to pay $637,000. And here's the thing. Now, we spent 6 months to defeat a $180,000 bill for seniors. We spent 6 months to defeat $180,000 for seniors. With just 3 sheets of paper, we're gonna vote for $639,000 and then congratulate you. Here's why we have a fundamental difference in this organization. And I'm talking to the people that see me on the other side of that camera. Nobody is more of a conservation than me. Here you got Camp Truett that's been over there for 20 years. And not nobody on this body cares about conserving it. But all of a sudden, it's the greatest thing since cornbread to spend $500,000. We have a fundamental difference, and it's time that the people in this community start coming to these council meetings and talk up.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I have another one here.
Okay, go ahead.
And I saw the site plan and the whole nine. I mean, it looks like a nice area, whatever have you, but how long before we know something?
We will find out this summer 2023. So, yes, sir.
Well, all right.
Mr. Myers?
We would like to have an opportunity to figure out where we can get make sure we've got the funding for future years. Apparently it didn't get.
I'm sorry. Can you get closer to your microphone, please?
The finance director said that she did not get an opportunity to look at where the funding was coming from and if we could put it off till another time and to reconsider this.
Is there a motion?
A motion to put it off, or I'm ready to approve it.
Well, Ms. Floyd Bradley, did you want to add anything?
I wasn't on the approval tree because didn't have opportunity to review this agenda item, and as far as the $638,000, I'm not aware, like, it would normally come from general fund reserves because we don't have the funding for it.
So you're agreeing with what I said earlier, that it's just another justification for doing a millage rate increase. But actually, as we know, we could have actually gone for a 3 mil increase and been more comfortable Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, this is a one-time expense.
Yes, it is.
So normally with the future capital years, you would normally use a one-time revenue. I wouldn't say to increase taxes just for this one item, unless it was an ongoing
The
expense.
thing is, I'm sorry I cut you off. Go ahead and finish what you were saying.
No, I was done.
Okay. My intent all along has been, and I'm the one who's pushing for an increase, I realize that. So I'm probably one of the more unpopular people in the city right now. But the point is that we don't have to run that millage rate indefinitely. We can withdraw it. Now, I realize it's always risky to ask for more money with the intent that, oh, well, we're going to reduce it later on. But there are some things that we need to get through over the next couple or 3 years, one of them being incredible inflation, et cetera, which will eventually drive up the housing stock and the tax digest. So it'll tend to be self-correcting after a while. But initially, that's why you do an increase in the millage rate. And so my argument would be, and that's why I was saying it's a justification for it over the next couple of years. Yes, this will not be an issue in real year 2024, 25, 26, 27. That will have passed at that point. But over the period that we are trying to get through this and not draw down our reserve, over that period, that's when we need the increased millage rate. So if this adds on another year to that, but maybe we'll luck out. You know, maybe the digest will go up more and we can decrease the millage rate. But that's my point. That's why I brought it up.
I'm sorry. Ms. Fleur Bradley, have you had an opportunity to review this?
No.
Would you like an opportunity to review it?
I mean, discuss with the city manager and Tasha, yes.
Okay.
Well, I had one comment.
Well, hold on one second. Is there a motion to move discussion of this to the next meeting?
Well, I was going to say.
Motion to do what?
To move discussion of this item to the next meeting. I'm gonna let you
No,
speak.
I'm going to move to approve it at this meeting. Then let's vote on it.
Okay, is there a second? Hold on. Is there a second?
I've got discussion.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, there is no second to Councilman Clay's motion to approve this item.
I think there'll be a second if I can just say one thing.
Sir, the way that Robert's rules work, there's the motion been made, so we need to see if there is a second.
I'm okay with voting it up or down. I just had a question in terms of.
Is there a motion, is there a second to Councilman Clay's motion? Hearing none, that motion fails.
All right.
Can we move it to the next?
If you want to make a motion.
I'll make a motion, we move it to the next agenda. Next council meeting, sorry.
Is there a second for that?
Second with discussion.
Thank you, Councilman Carn. Go right ahead.
What I was saying was that I'm fine with voting it up or down, but my question was, how did something with that big of a number attached to it not get looked at by finance? I guess that's the bigger issue, I guess, more or less.
So as far as with the approval tree, and I will take responsibility as this is my first time needing to have a funding resolution along with a grant application. So once again, this grant is not going to even be provided or given until summer of '23. This grant actually comes from DNR. There was a special sales tax added to any outdoor recreation. They want to ensure that whoever receives these funds will be able to utilize and provide a tangible product by the end of the 2 years. So we are only needing this funding resolution as part of that application, which would allow us time to review the future budgets for both terms and to be able to allocate potential funding. And once again, We are only asking for 2.5 million. It does not mean that we will receive it all, nor do we have to spend it all. As well as I was just stating to Ms. Valor Bradley, if we do receive it and she finds that we do not have the funds, we can then deny that application and allow them to select another person.
Well,
That's what I wanted to prove.
and here's the thing, and I understand it, but, and Jackson, I understand you're temporary only, and, you know, you didn't ask for this, but, you know, and I don't always look at the review to check the review necessarily, but let's just make sure that doesn't happen again, like with that big of a number, or with any number. I mean, if it's proper department heads that should be looking at it, we want to make sure that, you know, it doesn't fall through the cracks. It starts me to thinking to myself, well, I hope, you know, I'm assuming we're not chronically missing stuff like that where somebody didn't get their eyes on it.
No, sir, I take full
So,
responsibility. This was on me.
I got that, but I just want to make sure, outside of your thing, let's just make sure, you know, the eyes are getting on it. Councilman Clay, I was fine voting it up or down now. I mean,
Well,
if, you know,
is this time sensitive?
I wanted to have a little bit of discussion, and I was fine with it if I was able to have the discussion. Again, you know, we got to be able to discuss stuff and ask questions and talk in terms of things not being too restrictive here, so we can get on and make some progress or whatever have you. Again, I was fine voting it up or down, but, you know, you gotta.
I have a comment.
You gotta have a
Hold on
little room
one
to
second.
breathe
Hold
with
on
this
one
stuff,
second,
you know?
Councilman.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Hold on. One
No,
second.
I'm done.
Councilman
I'm
Carr,
done.
you finished? Councilman Gay. There is a pending motion. Yes, there is. Councilman Gay, go ahead.
The thing that concerns me is that I've done procurements and grants all my life, all my adult life. You cannot possibly say that the city or any municipality is going to go after a grant and tell them that, okay, we got it, but we're not going to give you the money because we don't have the vote. In other words, when you submit these grants, you're basically telling them that you're going to fund the match. It's not in case we don't get it. You're telling them, you're putting our city in a position that we're going to give them this money. And we just had a 3-month budget process, and none of these things came through that process. What is the point of having a budget process? I mean, we couldn't even get $10,000 for a camera for crime, but you got $600,000, and we ain't even looked at how we can pay for it. We got to be better stewards, and you can't be taking us for granted up here. You got to be a better steward of the public's money.
Any other comments? The motion on the floor is to move discussion of this item to the next meeting. All those in favor?
Oh, wait a minute, can we do?
Second.
There was a second. Councilman Carn seconded.
Wait, no, I don't
Yes,
think
yes, you did.
I did?
Yes, you did. Yes. So all those in favor of moving discussion to the next meeting?
Aye.
I didn't think I seconded it, but maybe.
Yeah,
Well, no,
you did.
Huh?
You did second.
No,
Well,
All those opposed?
opposed.
All right, so that motion fails.
let me ask you a question. All right, I'm good.
Any other motions on this item?
Well, I guess somebody could float a modified motion of some sort, if anybody's interested, I'd imagine.
Councilman Carr, do you have a motion? Would you like to?
No, I said, I didn't say I did. I said somebody could if anyone's interested. But, no, I don't.
I already had my shot at it.
Well, and you would've got your shot if I was able to just
Mayor,
ask a couple
the
of more
motion
questions,
has
that's
been
all I
voted
Okay,
wanted
is
to
there,
do.
gentlemen,
Yeah.
If, Councilman Clay, if you'd like to restate that motion and see if you can get a second, go right ahead.
Let me give it a shot. Okay, I move that we go forward with this at this point, and with the intention that we look for additional funding since we have a year and that or 2 years, and we believe that we can get that additional funding to reduce the cost, and therefore it won't probably be as much as it could be conceivably. And based on that, I will resubmit a modified motion that we look for additional funding during that period to compensate for that. How's that?
So let me be clear about your motion. Your motion is to approve the resolution with the
Instruction to staff
to
pursue aggressively achieving additional funding for the match.
Is there a second?
Give up.
Hearing none, the motion fails. Well, the motion,
All right, so
Doesn't
is it gonna go on the next agenda, or?
no.
It's not going to go anywhere right now.
Well,
not gonna go anywhere.
Well, if we can get if we can get the review, I would motion to put it on the next agenda. All right, with the caveat that finance gets the review that they need.
Mayor,
I make
how
that
many,
motion.
how
Hold
many,
on.
how many motions
Councilman
are
Gay,
we-
hold on one moment. Hold on one moment.
That's my motion.
One more time?
That we put it on the next agenda, along the lines of Ken's same motion with the caveat that we make sure finance gets a chance to review. And
Question.
takes a look at the money.
Is there a second?
I'll second that one.
All right, discussion, Councilman Gay?
Unless I'm wrong, I didn't know we could legally just keep making the same motion.
Well,
The motions are different.
I did.
I'm the
I'm
chair and the
talk- I'm-
motions are different.
Wait a minute. My mama taught me how to read and write. Now, these motions sound pretty similar. Are we allowed to just keep making the same motions?
The,
I made a
the-
modified.
I'm talking to the lawyer. That's
Councilman,
what we paying him
Councilman,
for. Speak,
Councilman,
sir.
Councilman.
You moderate and he answers
Councilman,
the legal question.
You are out of order.
And so are you.
Councilman, please lower your voice.
We're not talking, we're talking to the
Councilman,
lawyer.
Councilman, all things need to be addressed to the chair running
Okay,
the meeting.
Thank you.
And so,
Go ahead, Winston.
Mr. Denmark, hold on.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. Councilman Gay, you need to address me, and then I will address Mr. Denmark. And please keep your voice at a level that does not rise to yelling. We have decorum in here, and you are out of order. Mr. Denmark, can you answer Councilman Gay's question?
Yes, ma'am. As I heard the motions, there was 2 motions by Councilman Clay, one motion by Councilman Allen, one motion by Councilman Carn, and they were not identical motions. So Councilman Gay, you would be correct that we cannot make the exact same motion again and again and again until something changes. No, we cannot do that. However, those motions, each motion of the 4 were different.
So, sir, can you clarify for me how the second motion to put it on the other agenda is different?
Yes, sir.
Wait, hold on. Councilman Gay, I said it one more time. Please address me. All right, we're moving forward. So we've got a motion and a second on postponing discussion of this item until the next meeting with the opportunity for finance to review prior. There's been a motion by Councilman Allen. There's a second by Councilman Carn.
I'll second.
Yep. So, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is Councilman Allen, Councilman Carn, and Councilman Clay in favor. All those against?
Opposed?
Councilman Gay is opposed. That motion passes. The next item on the agenda, consideration and guidance regarding the Fulton County Tiny Homes Intergovernmental Agreement. Mr. Myers?
From my understanding that Fulton County had called me and told me, gave me some information about putting tiny homes into College Park, and I also noticed that in the newspaper, they talked about the South Fulton area, and they talked about College Park. And then there's a resolution that came down here from Fulton County. So we need to come up with an agreement to have an intergovernmental agreement between College Park and Fulton County. We also need to have an agreement with Business Industrial Development Authority. So we're talking about property, to be able to identify property for tiny homes. We also need to take a look at our ordinance, which our city planner and I have been looking at. More city planner. He was back there. Oh, he moved. I'm sorry. To look at it for tiny homes, to make sure that we have to change our ordinances to whatever we have to be able to accommodate that. And it's up to this body of how we want to move forward on this.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Councilman Clay.
Well, I definitely think that we should move forward. It's an opportunity for affordable housing, which we desperately need in the city. So I certainly am in favor of coming up with an agreement. I sent some information, Jackson, to you with regard to some of the concerns that I had. One of them being if Fulton County is looking for us to partner with them by donating some property to this enterprise, to this partnership, then I would want to look at the conditions under which the property is handled. In other words, is it just an outright gift? Is it a 50-year lease or a 100-year lease? Is it, if for some reason the way it gets developed turns out to be, let's say it's turned into a rental community. We're trying to avoid rental communities. So these are some of the factors that would have to go into an agreement where we would donate property. If the property is not donated, if it's purchased, then they might be, as BIDA does frequently, put a condition on it that if it is not developed in a certain way or by a certain time, it comes back to the city. So I'm definitely in favor of moving forward with it because I think that the intent, the concept is great. It's the devil in the details, like anything else, and that is what would get worked out in this agreement. Am I correct in understanding it that way?
From my understanding, that they are going to assign a project manager to this program. Fulton County is, and then we'll work through those Q&A that you just got through talking about. But I didn't want to move forward with this without making sure this body voted to continue working with Fulton County and spending our time with.
Okay, well then, if that's all you want, I'm all in favor. I'll even make a motion on it, and we can continue around the room and figure out whether other people have questions or discussion or what have you, but I'll support that.
Are you making a motion?
That's my motion to go forward on it.
To continue discussions to move forward with the process?
To move forward and look into the details of how we would do this partnership with the county.
All right, is there a second?
Second with discussion.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Jackson, I know we talked about this before. I think it's a good opportunity, obviously. Fulton County, when they have these pilot programs coming from a national level, again, they have any choice of the 15 cities to put something like this in terms of pilot, in terms of free funding and opportunities for cities. Obviously, I want that to remain in College Park if possible. For one, when I heard about it, I told you about it, and I had an area in mind, but one thing Jackson did, he talked to me about another area that he had in mind. And when I thought about it, it did sound like a better area. And Jackson, just kind of explain to your reasoning for that area. I thought I really it was a better area than what I had in mind. But can you just expound on that?
Well, back in 2005, when I first came here, we talked about the Princeton Village, and they talked about there's some property that's down there by the FAA building across from the ponds that that we bought the property that's not part of the airport noise. You know, I know that it's hodgepodge down through Princeton where some of it that you can't put residents in and another thing. And I just thought that that would be close to the MARTA station, to be able to ride up and down to Atlanta shopping, and it's also close to our downtown area. So I thought that that would be a good place if we could find a space in there to put those tiny homes.
Yeah, and Ken, it's not that I don't like your area. I had another area in mind, but when he went through the particulars, I went over there and I took a look, and I had to admit that area that he's talking about, the little piece of property that we own, is literally 1,000 feet from there to the MARTA station, and maybe a couple thousand from there to Zup Park. So, you know, hey, sometimes you got to call a spade a spade. So yeah, that was a much better area. So yeah, I'm in support of it. But you guys work it out, but make it where it works, so we can make a decision on what we're going to do with these houses or how we're going to do it. So, all right.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Ellen?
Yeah, I think that's about where I am. I'd like to see which property you're talking about, but I think that we have a lot of questions. We're going to deed the property to them. They're going to build on it. Is that correct? And again, these are just questions I have.
Yes, that's why I'm hoping
Who builds on it? Who sells it?
I just need to move
Do they deed it
forward.
back to us? You know, we want to make sure there's no rentals. There's a lot of T's that need to be crossed and a lot of I's that need to be dotted. But I'm in favor of the project to move on. We just need to look more in depth at some of the questions.
Councilman Gay?
Jackson, I would like you to have a conversation with the gentleman that came up and see what kind of value he can offer us. He says he's been involved with it.
Oh, you're talking about Michael Moore?
Yeah, he's still here. That would be my recommendation.
We'll get with Michael Moore. I will. I know him.
Anything else, sir? Anything else? Yes, sir. All right, thank you. Mr. Myers, how does this align with our comprehensive plan?
It doesn't, that I know of. It's not in our comp plan. Not this tiny homes, no.
The area that you were thinking about, what does it look like in our?
It was single family residents that were down through there. And of course, we'll have to rezone that, whatever parcel of land that we want to utilize, we'll have to rezone it. But it was the only one that I could think of that Bida owned. I didn't want to put them in the middle of over there at 6 West, is what I suggested. We have to look at a piece of property. There was too many questions and not enough answers.
I think there's still a lot of questions.
There's a ton of questions.
So hopefully you get those answered.
And the city planners, both of them and I, we went through a lot of, we want to wait till Fulton County gives us, meet with Fulton County, their program manager, project manager, whomever they have assigned to it. Harriet is the lady that's up there where, Councilman Carr knows the lady.
And just, my understanding is that if we grant them the property, they build the houses and they deed them back to us, or we can make a decision on how, financing, discounting, we get a little grant with it, but how we lease them out or mortgage them, you know, the thought in the back of my head was something along the lines of maybe city employees or seniors or something like that, but whatever y'all come up with. I don't know any more particulars beyond that.
Yes, I don't either, but that's why I had this body to go ahead and vote. And the city planner and I can move forward with this, but we didn't want, if you guys didn't want this, then we'd let it go.
Oh, one other thing I do want with this, because I saw one of these developments in Clarkston. Harriet took me to Clarkston, and what they had was it was a pocket neighborhood, like I think 8 or 9 houses, and they said it would be something like that. But in the enclave of the houses, I thought what was a really nice touch was they had a community garden there in the middle of the enclave. It was a U shape, and the garden sat in the U. And I said to myself, well, that's the community garden piece. And I said, okay, well, I'd like to do that with ours. And we're only giving them a ½ an acre for the houses, but because we still own the land, I want to add a community plot there. If once we get it, I like to see that as a component of it. I think that'd be really good. But again, we wouldn't give them that land. That'd be our land if we want to do something like that. You know, so
Something else additional to discuss, that's why we
Yeah,
need.
there's a lot to discuss with this.
Let them discuss it.
But we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All members present voted in favor. Councilman Gay stepped out. The next item on the agenda is consideration of an action on a request for approval of CCTV SLA Net Planners Renewal. Mr. Hicks, good evening. Any questions for Mr. Hicks on this item? Councilman Clay?
Good evening.
I had only one, and that was how many hours of support included in the current contract? And how does this additional contract differ from that? Because the dollar value of the cost went up, right?
Yes, sir, it did. And it went up because I mandated that they put some hours into this new contract. It wasn't in the previous one.
Okay,
So I've got to have some hours to help AJ out in the event we get some.
I'm good. God knows that we need this additional support.
Councilman Carn?
all right. So how many more cameras does this get us, or is this just the
Support.
The support for the system?
Yes, sir,
Okay,
support
right.
for what we currently have.
And it's compatible with the other ones? that
Yes,
we
sir.
have? Okay. All right.
Councilman Allen?
No comments, I think it's good.
Councilman Gay?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Gay's made a motion. Councilman Clay has seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. That is unanimous. Item 8A is consideration of an action on approval of statement of work and outage management system with Northstar. Mr. Richardson?
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and the council again, and this is technology I've been looking at for several years. I keep pushing out, and it's technology that most of your progressive utilities have. We had that before 20 years ago, although it was a little different technology then. So basically, this technology will take our advanced meter information during outages and apply it to reports and everything. Go to the first page, and basically, this is what I call internal use. It will record power outages via the advanced meter notification and generate reports and classify the cause of each outage. We will probably classify outages in like eight different categories, like weather, equipment failure, limbs, lightning, vehicle, things like that. And then at the end of each year, we can track our average outage per event and per citizen, and determine if there needs to be any more preventive maintenance to improve it. Say if we get to the end of the year and the average person was out 8 hours, that is not good, unless it was caused by some extreme storm or something like that. So that is one way we can use the software internally. The next slide, which I mainly want to show y'all, is our external use, and that is for our citizens to be able to track and keep up with the power outages and the restoration time. This is the app that they would see once they register, and it personalizes them where they are at, and it says we're aware of a problem in this case, as an example, at this home. It also gives them another option to report an outage. They can access this information via the app or just via our webpage. The next page shows actually the sign-up form for that. It's pretty easy, and what notifications they want. We can also notify them via email if they want it that way, informing them of the restoration period. And then the next page is what we call a public outage map, what they can see if there are outages in the area. This is an example of a customer, of a utility with 28,000 meters, and they have one outage affecting 4,251. And this shows regions where the power was out, and you can actually click on each of those circles and it'll give you an update what's going on there. The next page is another app that shows where we can give the estimated restore time. It's an estimate, but we can also keep updating it to get more accurate as we're working on the outage. And they can also report an outage and also let them know how many accounts are affected, so they'll know they're not alone. So they're not the only one on the outage. The next page shows what we see is a little bit more detailed information on the outage. And the map shows, for example, here we have a map on our, of meters on and meters off. The green is on and the red is off. We can also provide this detail to the citizens, but typically utilities have gotten away from that because it shows too much detail, whose power's out, and that might become a security risk. The next few pages I have some examples of some cities. Here's the city of Griffin with 16,000 meters, and they are showing no outages. Next page, city of Albany, 32,000 with no outages, and anybody can access this. Another example, the next one, Carroll EMC, 53,000 meters with no outages. But the following is Greystone Power, and I caught this a couple weeks ago when a storm came through. They have a lot of customers. They're our neighbors, 142,000 meters. They had 15 outages after the storm went through, with 476 customers affected. And if you click on one of those circles, the next page shows a little more detail. On this particular example, they don't show estimated restoration time, but that's something I think we need to provide to our citizens. And the following page shows an example of that, where in the center it shows estimated restoration at 7:06 p.m.